What's going on, guys? It's Hi with the Upper Left USA, and today I want to share with you the story of my biggest fail while shooting film. This particular fail occurred while I was road tripping through the American Southwest, and I thought to myself, because I was going to be seeing a lot of photogenic landscapes, it'd be a great time to shoot some Ilford Pan F. I was pretty excited to try this film out because I've actually never shot Pan F before, and it gets a lot of praise. All I know about it is that it's supposed to be very sharp and has extremely fine grain, so in my mind this made it good for landscapes. So I loaded the roll and shot. I took this roll through the Grand Canyon and Horseshoe Bend, two extremely photogenic locations, and I personally felt that I took some pretty good images while I was at these locations. While I was in Page, Arizona, I booked a boat cruise to go around Lake Powell. This went well. Afterwards the sun was setting, so I decided to pull over and do a long exposure of the lake. I was on the 34th frame of the roll. I actually attempted to do a long exposure on the previous frame at Horseshoe Bend, but something just seemed odd to me. For some reason, I was getting an estimated exposure time of 8 seconds with 11 stops of light reduction from my ND filters. Again, this was a bit weird because that just seemed really short, but I went through and shot the frame because I was on a time crunch. I had to get to the cruise before they left me behind. Anyways, back to standing there on the 34th frame trying to do another long exposure, I decided to look down and check this one setting, and this was when I realized that I had failed so miserably. So before I reveal the fail, I'm going to give you a chance to guess what it was. When I was shooting this roll of Ilford Pan F, I was using my Nikon F100, and I haven't used this camera since I shot my Ilford Delta 3200 video. This is a very important clue. So I went from Ilford Delta 3200, which I shot at 3200, to Ilford Pan F, which is a 50-speed film. What could have gone wrong? It's pretty obvious, but if you haven't been able to guess it by now, I forgot to change the film speed in the camera. The first thing that you should be doing after you change every roll of film is check the freaking film speed setting in the camera. So if you don't understand what this means, let me explain. If you use a digital camera and you need more light sensitivity, one of the things that you can do is increase the ISO. And of course, if there's too much light, you can always decrease it. With the digital camera, because you're able to bump the ISO up and down on the fly as you please and as you need, it kind of becomes second nature to the point that you just do it when you need to. But on film, because the ISO is kind of locked into the film stock itself, you really only change it once per roll when you change the roll, or maybe when you change to a different film speed. In my case, I went from a 3200 speed film to a 50 speed film without changing the internal ISO setting in the camera, which means that my light meter was completely off, and I ended up with 33 images that were 6 stops underexposed, 33 images that were completely useless. When I realized my mistake, I of course changed the ISO to the appropriate setting, but I also frantically tried to figure out a way to salvage the 33 images that I already took. I figured if there was anything that I could have done, it would have been in the development process. With the way that I shot this roll, I technically could have treated it as if I was pushing this roll 6 stops, but to me, I don't think that Ilford Pan F could hold up to a 6-stop chemical push. Again, I've never shot this film before, so what do I know? But just logically speaking, I just didn't feel comfortable treating this film as if it were a 6-stop push chemically. The only logical thing that I could think of was to stand develop. If you've never stand developed before, and to simplify things, this process essentially involves diluting the developer down to a point where there is essentially only enough developer to develop that single roll of film. When you mix a developer based on the manufacturer's recommendation, there is actually more developer than you need. There's extra developer, that's why if you keep the film in the developer, it continues to develop. With stand developing, when the film is developed, the developer is depleted. In theory, if the film has been exposed and there is something to develop, stand developing will get the job done. But as a reminder, I underexposed by 6 stops, so how did stand developing work in my case? I'll let you be the judge. As you can see, the images didn't really develop as planned. The only part of the images that were actually viewable is of course the sun, the brightest part of the sky, which is going to show up no matter how underexposed you actually are. The last few images that actually look correct or properly exposed are actually the ones that I took after I figured out my mistake. So what's the lesson here? If you are shooting film, always remember to check the ISO setting in the camera body after you change a roll of film. Don't be like me and travel hundreds of miles just to take these photos to have nothing to show for it, except of course the memories of my biggest fail while shooting film. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it around, comment down below with your thoughts or questions, maybe share with me a story of your biggest fail, make me feel better. Don't forget to subscribe for more content to come. Thanks for watching this video, see you guys next time.